Some would criticize Samsung as doing a lot of C&D, copy and development, especially maybe in the early stages, and not really doing R&D, just copying other companies' products. What would you say to that?
I think everybody does C&D and R&D at the same time. I think we are particularly being criticized wrongfully about copy and development for some silly aspects of design and functionalities. But what I can tell you as an innovation practitioner at Samsung is it's very challenging to come up with a very new novel idea by yourself alone. In other words, if I'm thinking about watch, most all the companies are thinking about watch. If I'm thinking about a certain aspects of functionality, most all the other companies are thinking about those similar aspects. So we encounter very, very often within our office that we think like, oh, that was my idea, and like Lenovo launched it, oh, that was my idea, and Philips launched it. But even if they did that, my idea might be still in the pipeline. So to the outside world, it appears to be that we either copied or followed, but it's that competition and the speed, and once it gets locked into a development and production cycle, unless you're crazy, it's very difficult to suddenly yank it out.
So there's always a first mover advantage then, to launch into the market, to get a credit.
There is a big first mover advantage. It's even more challenging these days. You have to be the first mover and the mover to do it right. So like for example, Apple didn't launch smartphones first. We had phones, touchscreen phones, even before Apple launched their phone. There's not a lot of people saying like, oh, Apple copied Samsung. Samsung had the first, screen. But they did the experience much better at the time than ours. And that's what stuck with consumers' mind. So the competition is not just the first mover. The competition is both what and how. What is the first mover? How is the right experience? And they kind of go hand in hand right now. And we don't really have time to screw up. We have to get it right the first time, and that's really difficult.
Now with products like smartphones, not only Samsung but all brands, and the internet as well, we all stay connected all the time, and it changes somehow the way we interact with each other. We tend to interact sometimes more on the internet rather than in real interaction. And you're part of that designer. What do you think?
That's a very, very interesting and good question, because that's something that we as innovators and designers think about it all the time. And I'll give you a couple examples as paradigms. When I was young, I was criticized and blamed for studying and listening to the music at the same time. People like my parents would, when they see me like listening to the music, they would say like, take your headphone off because you can't concentrate, right? TV used to be a very bad thing and very bad influence to watch, especially for kids. So there's always that resistance to technology to establish generation when it's new and when it's outside of their main experience when they were growing up. So when you say, is internet really a good thing or a bad thing? It's a very difficult question. Yes, it kind of changes the human dynamics. You tend to look at web or you send messages more so than talk. But it's like a floodgate. Can you reverse it? I don't think you really can. So I think the best model is, how do I make the most of this type of trend and put that into a new meaningful relationship? I think face-to-face only is now not a good relationship. Likewise, virtual only relationship is not a good relationship. How do you design products to accommodate both sides is the kind of challenge that we're facing. And we're actually actively looking into that types of paradigm to get reflected on our products.
How do you stay innovative?
Well, you have to experience a lot of different things, because experience is a fuel for innovation. Reading is good, but reading is always a secondary experience. Whereas if you go out and explore new thing, then the kind of experience that you get is very, very multidimensional. And you'd be very surprised to see how many of those are actually applied to your day-to-day activity. Whether it be skating, snowboarding, skiing, or even I don't know, netting, it doesn't really matter. But I encourage people to travel a lot, see a lot, do a lot, just experience a lot, try a lot to stay innovative.
ในโลกที่เทคโนโลยีนั้นไม่หยุดนิ่งความคิดสร้างสรรค์บวกกับการค้นคว้าวิจัยก็จะสามารถทำให้เกิดนวัตกรรมใหม่ๆโดนใจผู้บริโภคได้นะคะต้องมาจับตาดูกันต่อค่ะว่าแล้วต่อจากนี้ไป Samsung จะมีผลิตภัณฑ์อะไรออกมาให้ตลาดนั้นได้ฮือฮาหรือว่าสร้างความน่าสนใจได้อีกนะคะพบกันใหม่สัปดาห์หน้าวันนี้สวัสดีค่ะ